So my life right now is pretty low-key and pretty local. We do normal things with normal people. There was a time when that wasn't as much of the case, and where my wife and I, we lived out of backpacks and we were hopping trains and buses and we were living an itinerant life and exploring corners of the world I never thought I'd see, let alone be in. And when we were doing that, one of the most interesting places we visited by far was the American Embassy in Kathmandu. And we went there, we actually went there because we needed more pages in our passport. Up until that moment, I didn't know you could get more pages in your passport, but turns out you can, and sometimes you need them. And while there was lots of things about that visit that made it interesting, there's one I want to share today. And the idea that struck me, and it struck me as we crossed the threshold of the embassy, was the sign declaring that we are now on US soil. Despite still being in Nepal, and even though I was on Nepalese soil literally one step ago, and something had changed. And it's funny for me how that works and how we can belong to one place even if we're physically in another. And that thought has stuck with me for years. And I think about it in regards to faith all the time. I mean, let's be honest, I live in America, but I belong as a Christian to Jesus and the kingdom of God. I live by the rules and laws of our land, and happily so, but my ultimate allegiance is to Christ. And I think what's true for me is also true for us as a community. We all have different political beliefs, we all have different social concerns, but we as a body are and should be united in the kingdom and the calling of God. And that is where our true identity and belonging lie. And that's what I've been thinking about ever since the affairs of last week. To be honest, I don't like and didn't like seeing a cross aligned next to a political flag in a crowd, any crowd, especially one that resulted in a mob and violence. And those combined images also reduce everything to the here and now, where all politics is theological, where everything is win-lose. And for me, that doesn't just resonate with anything that I see in the scriptures. But what does ring through is the call for us to put our trust and ultimate allegiance in God. It shows in sections like from Psalm 146, which Noah has read to us before, but it says, "Do not put your trust in princes, in human beings who cannot save. When the spirit departs, they return to the ground. On that very day, their plans come to nothing. Blessed are those whose help is in the God of Jacob, and whose hope is in the Lord their God." There are always things in the world that are vying for our allegiance, our trust, our hope. But there's only one who's worthy of it. Friends, as 2021 begins, I want to invite you to put your trust in the name of the Lord, knowing He will sustain you and provide for you, regardless of what this year brings, and it will be good, even if there are moments that are challenging. Grace and peace, my friends. Have a good week.